Lazy couch, baby.
Hello, potatoes of all kinds. This is your host, Sunflower Kid, ready to give you the juicy topics today. So, tonight, I have three beautiful queens with me.
Hi, it's royalty in the building.
Hey everyone, it's Tia, aka Tia J.
Hello, so it is Savage E here.
AKA Ethel. So, I'm going to introduce the topic. Sex. Can't live without it? Well, I can't live without it. That's the problem. Should I just let it be? I might even go to church on Sunday. Ah, it. Give me that juice. I need it. The topic for the day is give me that juice. And today we're going to discuss promiscuity in the Bahamas from both ends of the spectrum. The first question is, do you believe that hypersexuality is viewed as a social ill in Bahamian?
For women, for men, it's awesome.
Yes, I second that motion.
Same.
So it's one of the most classic double standards that have been around for so many years and so many generations.
And like, it doesn't make any sense because it's like, okay, you don't want women all about having sex and doing what they want, right? But you want men up and down having sex. Who the men having sex with?
Exactly.
Folks?
Exactly what I was
Make it make sense.
Yeah, make it make sense. And then too, they be like, "Oh well, the woman is a hoe. She's a slut. She's this. She's that." But let the guy do it.
Yeah, I'd
Not
be so
like
confused. I'd be like, you're a hoe too, though. Like,
he's a
you
hoe too. I is
dogging
calling
don't have
man
no
hoe.
But
rest.
see, they are called man whores, but it just
It
Mm.
still
doesn't
doesn't
carry the
even.
same negative
It doesn't
connotation.
have
Like,
a
Right,
sting
right.
to it, like if
yeah,
you're a female. But
It's
another problem that I have about it is in the Bahamas, men who actually try to be more conservative with themselves, they're seen as gay. And I see it all the
I
time. Like I
pray
have
that
plenty
has
friends
irked my soul.
who I had a friend who was a virgin like in his like late 20s. People coming to me and be like, oh, is he gay? And he's very straight. Like he's never shown anything. Like I'm pretty sure he's straight. People just be like, oh, is he gay? If they see a guy who's more conservative and really intelligent
Hmm.
and articulate in the way that he presents himself, they're like, is he gay? As a male, because you're more
Because
conservative in
because
who
so
you
many
are
guys
sexually,
equate.
you shouldn't be labeled as gay. It shouldn't be a question
Yeah.
whether you're gay or not. That shouldn't matter. Why isn't it okay for men? So
Hmm.
Because guys, for some reason, for some odd reason, guys equate getting as much vagina as possible as being a man.
Right.
I don't know
it's
why.
associated with manhood.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah, it
why.
doesn't make any sense. Like, have you guys seen that thing where Boozy had his sons
Oh my
they
gosh.
got
Yes.
heads or
Yeah.
something from a stripper?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying how okay he'd rather his son his child get heads from a stripper compared to how Dwayne Wade is okay with his son transitioning and whatever he has going on. And I'm like, y'all do know that they ain't in the same boat at all, right? My sexuality is not linked to rape and assault and pedophilia.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing, and I don't understand like why they think okay this having sex makes me a man, and it's like no,
Right.
that ain't it. Where y'all headed from? Who y'all
Because
get
let's
there from?
let's let's do it this way. Suppose Dwayne Wade did that for his son. Your sexuality is what you're attracted to, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That's my understanding of what it is.
Hmm.
You really think that if Dwayne Wade did this for his son, that his son would have turned out any different? No,
No, because he's still
because
attracted.
He's still
what
attracted
he
to men. He's
wants is what he
bisexual,
wants.
but he's still attracted to men.
Exactly, what he wants
Yeah.
is what he wants.
Once,
So
no matter
you,
what.
even if you did that for him, why you think? How do you think people who are gay discover that they are gay? Because they've had that experience with the opposite sex and they like it. So and they realize that they like it with the same sex. So that is how you understand and realize for the most part that you're gay because you lack any type of attraction or sexual desire for the opposite sex. Just because you had that moment with them, that don't mean you enjoyed it. That don't mean it made you fulfilled. That didn't mean you liked it.
That's true.
So that just because Boozy did that, Lord God forbid, the irony, if Boozy did this to his son and it didn't take any type of effect, and his son discovers feelings of being gay or realizes that he's gay, then what he can say. I would love to know what he would say in that
I
scenario.
swear, I was saying laugh,
I
but
think he
that
can
would be
disown
too
his son.
jokey.
Like,
Yeah, more than likely he will, to be honest.
he'll
But
disown
No,
it.
but
back to
he
what Peter was
said,
saying. Oh, okay. Go
sorry,
on.
okay, he
No,
has
go
said,
on.
oh, I don't have a problem with gays or whatever. I know people who are gay. I have friends and stuff who are gay, but it's the point of trying to confuse sexuality with
Man.
pedophilia. I think that's the main issue that
Mm-hmm.
he's not getting, and people who support him aren't getting. It's not the same. Like, they don't have the same boundaries at all.
And the thing is, their main cry is like, "Oh, I rather him do that than his son to turn out to be gay."
I
And
feel like both is wrong. Like I disagree with
yeah, I agree.
both
Not
situation.
we're not saying that
Mm-hmm.
what Dwayne Wade's son is dealing with is okay, but like
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, you can't. Why are you comparing two evils?
And then
You're right.
why are you announcing it to the world as if it's something to be
You
proud
should be
of?
proud of. You
But
shouldn't be doing
yeah,
it in the first place. You gotta be
yeah,
announcing it to the
exactly.
world.
Yeah, but I was gonna say back to what Peter was saying, like from a personal experience, like when I talk to guys or getting to know them, they would be like, "Oh, well, I haven't had sexual intercourse in like maybe 5 months, close up to a year," and for some reason, I just don't believe them because I feel as though
Wow.
men can't go that long. But
Mhm.
talking to other males, they would say yes, they could go long without having sex, but for some reason, I just have it in my
They
mind
don't
that
make it seem that way, do
they
they?
don't. Yes, they don't make it seem that way. You understand? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. They make it seem like, oh my gosh, this is a thing that I need to have. If I don't have it, I'm
Right,
gonna die.
But then
It's
you
a,
do have
right.
some
you
men
know,
who value
You do.
themselves and
Mhm.
they don't have sex with just any female.
Any,
They
yeah.
prefer to have sex with a female that they have feelings.
You know,
Mhm.
I think
Oh.
for something that is so private, not everybody, what you do in your bedroom is only known between you and the person you're doing it with. So I feel like this is an internal issue with guys because your boys don't gotta know how much you having sex. Your boys don't gotta know all of that. So I feel like it's an internal thing. If you yourself feel like if you ain't having enough sex or you ain't having as frequent amount of sex as you think you should be having, that you
Mhm.
feel some type of way about yourself. And I would pray to God that's not the case, but that's how it's coming off to me. Because you guys don't have to know these things, but feel like you need to flaunt it to them and you need to do it and
Mhm.
so they could see that, hey, I'm a man, I get in all this vagina. That
Yeah.
sounds like an inner insecurity to me.
Yeah, and the thing is, I personally hate men who are very hypersexual. Like of course there are men who have sex, but then when we're talking about hypersexual, we're talking about the
They literally make
demand of the sex.
everything
We're talking about
they make
men who objectify women. We're talking about men who can't go 6 months without having sex, and it's like when you try to form a relationship with a man like this, they have no substance. Like you realize that like you can't get any deeper in a conversation with them about anything other than sex because that's all that's on their mind.
Yeah.
right.
I think I dated a guy who was like addicted to sex, and it was not fun at all.
Hmm. It's very annoying.
Honestly,
and it's
it's
like
not fun.
it's
It's not.
annoying also when
Every second of the day, every minute, like I'm like,
exactly and when they make everything a sexual reference. Oh my gosh,
It
It's
makes
that
it
is
annoying.
so
annoying.
weird. It's like, what's wrong with
Is
you?
annoying.
mhm,
I could be talking about I can be like, you know what, I think I'm hungry.
mhm,
I'll eat
mhm.
this.
You want to eat
No,
me?
no, 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 no.
I mean, sure, but not now.
No, 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 don't
He's
do
like,
that. No,
I got something for you. Like,
exactly.
nigga, just
As
buy me
simple as
some
me
pizza,
saying,
man.
as simple as me
You're
saying,
too bad, boy.
simple as me saying, you know what, I'm hungry. I'm gonna get something to eat. I got something.
Mhm.
No, all that ain't necessary. I mean,
That's some
there's a time and a place. Yeah,
place, yes.
but like
Yeah.
when it's consistent, when it's on a every every hour or every half hour or every couple minutes basis,
Gosh.
it's annoying. It's very
Annoying.com.
Okay, so
Oh
guys, are y'all
man.
ready for the next question?
Yes.
Shoot.
Man.
How do most Bohemians respond to the idea of being abstinent until marriage?
I think we encourage it on the surface, but down low we don't encourage
We
it.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
we encourage it,
depends.
but we don't actually go by the rule and say, okay,
Exactly.
Right.
So like we
let's do
encourage
this.
it verbally to make it seem like we're a good person and to make it seem like we're so into the
Yeah.
principles and we always want you to do this.
Yeah. Christian
Right.
nation.
But then
Right.
when you do it, you're judged for it.
Yeah.
It's whack. And then I
I
think
mean,
also it's like the
Mhm.
older generation who are like, okay, yes, this is the key. Abstinence is the key. Meanwhile, they have 17 children out of wedlock.
Yeah.
Listen to
I just be like,
16 different people.
Guys, these
I
So,
mean,
I just be like,
I mean, I understand that they're saying, I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I
mistakes.
made. But
right.
then it's also like their approach doesn't make any sense because it's been proven in some cases that abstinence isn't really the key if you're not giving proper sex education. So for students
Yeah.
who don't really know, okay, literally pre-cum, I might be able to get pregnant in certain situations where I think, oh nah, no worries,
That's
boom, I'm
Mm.
pregnant, and then be like, well, what happened here? So if you're not gonna back up this abstinence strike with the things such as proper sex education, then it's you
Oh,
wasting your
God.
time just running on for nothing. Leave
that
people
pre-com thing.
alone.
I did my research on the pre-com thing. That's still debatable.
Wow.
It's
It
still very
is.
much debatable. Yes, it's like they say that you and they teach you that, but they teach you the few studies that say it's possible, but they don't show you the bunch of other studies that say that it's not been proven. So like it's still a open. It's actually still an open discussion whether pre-com contains sperm.
But oh, honestly, I don't think I could like wait until like marriage, to be sexually active with someone.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
it's not impossible, but it's
I
hella
It's not
hard.
but that's
impossible, but
also a
it'll be
point that I wanted to
disappointing.
make.
It's
Because
But
if
hold
you
on,
in there and it's whack.
but hold
That's
on.
what I'm
That's another
saying.
thing. That's another thing for Bohemians, like, because technically y'all know Peter ain't try them things. Yeah,
That's right.
it's like
Truly
when you
decent.
put out the idea of, okay, I'm abstinent until marriage,
Mm.
people is make it seem as if it's A, impossible,
Mhm.
B, you lying, C, like you can't do it, and it's like
Mm.
it's so confusing to me. And then another thing is like when you want to say that you're abstinent until marriage, people make it seem as if you're asexual. Like they don't
You
know
don't have desires.
exactly. They don't know the difference between being sexually abstinent versus being
Mm.
asexual. I'm not saying that I don't have sexual desires, just like anybody else. Of course, they have to have sexual
Of
desires in
course.
order to be attracted to a male.
Mhm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's the thing that I have sexual desires just as much as the other female. I just choose not to
Mm.
partake
Mhm.
in those sexual desires. And just like anybody, you have the chance to have sex with a male because it's honestly not that hard. You got people having sex, losing their virginity in abandoned building and things. They
Oh
don't
my
care
god.
losing their virginity in playground and bathroom and thing is like there's
Oh my.
the options are there,
I think it is possible though.
but
You
it's
can
about your
wait,
It is.
mindset.
but it is
Seriously, like
possible.
it's a
But
mindset and it's like a commitment.
yeah,
Like you have to make
yeah.
up in your mind that you're gonna say no.
Mm.
And you have a lot of females out there who started off as virgins
Mm.
and then it's another thing that I feel like as a female, like you can't say that you're abstinent until you've actually been put um into that predicament where you've actually
Mhm.
been tempted
You
by
have where
it
you
and then you
actually
were
have
able
the
to say no.
opportunity. Yeah.
You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's different to say no and you've never been in a position where you've been pursued
Mhm.
by a male and you were able to stand your ground
That
and say
makes
no.
sense then.
And then there's a difference when you've never been pursued by a male and then you're
Definitely.
put in the predicament and you're like, it's a yes. Because I see
It's the
that with a
same
lot of
thing.
females who are virgins, like they've like they're mostly virgins because they've never really been pursued by a male, and then once they're pursued by a male, they're no longer virgins because they weren't able to say no. But it's like a
Right.
thing. You have to
It is.
and the thing is, like, you can't just come up out of nowhere and be like, I want to be a virgin or I want to be abstinent. I'm telling you, like, it's a mental thing. You have to have your own reasoning for it, and you have to have a strong therefore you have to have a strong will. If you're a female and you just want to become abstinent, in my opinion, I feel like you shouldn't want to become abstinent just because you should want to become abstinent. You should have a reason why.
Yes, and
It
it's a
should be a really
commitment.
strong reason. So when you're ever put in the
Yes.
position, you could weigh out your options to be like, is this worth this? And if
I
you
think
and if you aren't able to have that strong reasoning for yourself, then it doesn't make sense wasting your time trying to be abstinent because it's not going to work for you.
Yeah, I think that not only virgins go through this. Even if you're not a virgin and you're contemplating and you're saying, okay, I'm not having sex for XYZ amount of time because I wanna. It might be for some other reasons other than just like how you said when you're a virgin and you want to stay a virgin until marriage or you want to practice abstinence, you need to have your own personal motivation and your own personal reasons why. I think even for women who aren't virgins, they have their own personal reasons why. Okay, I'm gonna stop having sex for a certain amount of time because I wanna get to know a man longer than I have been. I
Yes.
want to get to know myself better than I have been.
Right.
Like I think it applies to women who aren't virgins because especially women who are in a situation of heartbreak where they just came out of a very, very difficult relationship and you have those moments where you crave that person's touch, you crave that person's when especially when emotions were involved, it's very, very easy to, as soon as somebody shows you something remotely similar to what you were experienced before, you'll jump right back in and you'll find yourself in the same position again. So like it's important to, even after you come out of a situation like that, to tell yourself, okay, this is why I'm not doing this, and I've chosen not to do this, and this is why, and I'm sticking to it. And you can still have those, and you can still have those standards, even if you're not a virgin. So I don't want anybody who's not a virgin to feel bad that they're no longer a virgin.
Of course not.
Yeah.
You
Like
can
once you've already made the decision, you'd have made it. Gotta live with it. Like
exactly, you can still make the decision to change how you view certain things. Not because you made certain mistakes in the past must dictate, well, I did it already. I keep going. No, there's always room for you to make changes. So that's how I see it.
Yeah.
And another thing is, while doing research on this topic, because y'all know that I do research on all of the topics, I read a whole blog of women basically giving their reasons of why they chose to abstain from sex. Some women said that they to gain a better understanding from repetitive failing relationships, and that's understandable because if you know that you're a person that have sex, right? But you know that you're a person who's a lot of casual sex and you have a lot of failing relationships, and you're also that female who gets emotionally attached while having sex, and you keep having failing relationship over failing relationship over failing relationship. Sometimes you do need to step back from that sex, step back from that perspective and say, let me try and understand why these relationships keep failing, because you don't want to marry someone and then that relationship fail. If that let happen, belly break down, divorce ain't no easy. You have people who need that emotional detox from a long-term relationship. There are people who's been in relationship for 6 years, 7 years, man never popped the question to them, man constantly cheating on them. And sometimes, and trust me, especially those people who are married and was in a toxic marriage and then they just freakingly got divorced, you need that emotional
And then
detox.
when you go through that emotional trauma, trust me, when you go through emotional trauma, there's a window and period of time where you don't even want it. Like you don't even desire it. It's a point where you're so emotionally tired and you've been hurt so bad emotionally till your body come in agreement. Is like, damn,
like my soul tired.
Honestly, like when you tired, like for me, it is lock up. Like you don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But I
then you
guess
have
You,
another reason with females, they need to learn how to fall in love with themselves, because you have some females out
yes.
there who's very hypersexual. And when I say hypersexual, I mean they have sex with man to man to man. I mean, like,
Oh,
they live that
oh,
extreme end of the spectrum where they're constantly like running away from home and having sex with different men.
oh.
Like, you can't, like, I can't imagine myself being intimate with so many different people in such a short amount of time. You just being
Yeah, I can't
close
do
and rubbing skin with someone who you barely even know, who probably
Mm-mm.
treats you like
it.
crap, and you keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. Like, you can't love yourself. And
No.
on those things, sometimes you need to go grab a friend, and you just need to take a break from that. You really need to find a really good
Pfizer, yes.
spiritual advisor,
Mm.
and really get yourself together, because that ain't healthy. Okay, so next question. Is it wrong for a person to decide that they would like to abstain from sex in the middle of a long-term relationship?
it depends.
Yeah.
What do you mean by it depends? Elaborate.
I would say if you're going to abstain, you need to talk to the person that you're with, obviously. But also I'm thinking of how, let's say I want to take a break from sex to learn more about my partner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the basis of us abstaining because we're moving in towards marriage. So if I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, all right, we're not having sex right now
Mm-hmm.
because I want to ensure that the direction we're moving, it's not based on physical attraction,
Mm-hmm.
which can be gone in the blink of an eye. Like, oh, two of my arms will get cut off, and then like a week later, I have no feet or something, and then you just be like, what? This is not what I signed up for. Like,
Yeah.
physically, I won't be the same person, and you might not be attracted to me this in the
Mm-hmm.
same way anymore. Realistically, honestly, so I think it'll be good to ensure that the relationship is based on a emotional and mental attraction compared to physical. So I think it'll be good if you're doing that,
Mm-hmm.
but you should also respect your partner's saying, okay, that's not something I'm comfortable with. And you two should find a common ground because you can't just say, nah, I don't want to have sex anymore. And then your partner is just there like, what?
Yes, I feel like it's gonna be kind of risky as well too because you don't know if your partner is actually gonna be faithful
That's what I
during
mean.
that
Right.
time.
Right.
Mhm.
You
I think
know,
you should
so
But that
you
has
should
to do with the hypersexuality in guys. Guys aren't taught that, hey, you can spend time with this female and it doesn't have to be sex
also.
oriented. Like, guys aren't raised to value other parts of the female, because for guys, like, a lot of relationships, not having sex is a deal breaker. Like, a female can have all of the good qualities: loyal, can cook, can clean, good education, independent. But if she doesn't have sex, that's a deal breaker. And it's because, like, for them, like, that's really what makes or breaks a relationship most of the time. Like, sex. And like, I understand the importance of sex for some people. Like, you want to know that you're going to enjoy this person, because a lot of people get divorced over sex. But at the same time, the thing is with being human guys, like, I don't feel like they value other qualities as much as they should. They say they want an independent female. They say they want a female with all her stuff together, but honestly, they ain't looking for that. They looking for a freak in the sheets. Like, when she a freak in the sheets, they good. They don't care if she don't have nothing going for her life. They don't care that she be freaking herself out, or she crazy, or her head ain't good, or any of that, or she has some kind of mental disorder. They don't care. Like, if she can have good sex, that could carry the entire relationship. Mm.
like y'all said, that's a discussion. I agree. That's a discussion you love to have with your partner. I do think that it should not be an indefinite thing. It definitely should have a time frame on it. And
Right.
hopefully, if your partner is willing to do that with you, I think it's only fair that you put a reasonable time frame on it, because this is not something that they asked to be in. They are doing it because they care about you. They're
Mm-hmm.
doing it because they want to see you do better, and if your reasoning behind it is valid, as in you want to make sure that your relationship is not solely based on sex. You want to make sure that you have an actual connection, and they respect and understand that that is a very integral part of a relationship.
Uh-huh.
I feel like y'all really have to set a time frame, whether it's 2 weeks, whether it's a month, 3 months, 6 months. Y'all have to come to agreement on a time frame that both of you are okay with. She
Mm-hmm.
can't say she want to go 6 months, and he like, that's too long. I only could go maybe 3 months. Like y'all have to come to some common ground.
Mm-hmm. And it's like if y'all can't come to no common ground, there's nothing wrong with breaking up the relationship, because a lot of females feel like, okay, I don't want to do this because, like this can break up the relationship. So I don't want to have to consider this for your partner. But a lot of the things is sometimes we have to do decisions for what we want for ourselves. We shouldn't make decisions because we're afraid of what our partner is going to do. Like honestly, I believe like if I ain't engaged to no man, or if he don't have no plans to marry me, like I'm not going to include him into any decisions that I do that I consider like life changing or life required, because a lot of females, they don't do certain things because they're like, okay, maybe my partner isn't going to like this. And it's like females need to learn how to break themselves from that boundary where they are not afraid of doing things that they want to do, and they're not afraid about their partner leaving them as a result of that decision.
I agree. That same vein, saying that you should do what make decisions based on what you feel comfortable with and what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make decisions based on someone else who is not a permanent fixture in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so, well, for example, okay, so, but then it's how do I say, okay, this person wants this thing and I don't want this thing, but we are in a committed relationship, we are on the trial to getting married, or let's say we're already married. How do you decide, okay, I can go without this thing, or I can decide to tap into that? Like, okay, for
I
example,
feel
I don't
like
want
the
to use
levels
having
of
children as an
commit.
example, but that's heavy.
Yeah.
Having children is a very heavy thing. So if one person doesn't want children, you should just leave the relationships, because
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that person, if they're not going to treat the child as if they want it, you're damaging that child, and you're now going to be kind of like a single parent per se. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
sure, they'll be there, but it won't be the same thing as someone who wants a child.
Mm-hmm.
And then you might always feel as if you've missed out on something because you decided to make a decision based on what someone else wanted and not what you wanted. And
You
Mm-hmm.
even have
I
some
would use
people.
that as an example.
You even have some people who resent their partner for that, because let's say
Right.
you have a father, a woman who wants to have kids, and then the guy is like, I don't want kids, and let's say the guy takes the necessary precautions because he knows he doesn't want kids, but the wife doesn't want to, and then next thing you know, the wife decides she want to get sneaky and poke a hole in the condom, and then she's pregnant, and then she has this child, and then the guy, this child is rears up where this guy looking at this child like, wait, you literally only here by mistake. I really did not want you. And
Mm-hmm.
you and I pray to God that that's not something that He ever says, but like sometimes they don't have to say it. Children just pick up on
Yeah, they
things
don't have to say it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
way
Yeah, they
better
can
than we
feel it.
think.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to say it. Children just pick up on things so fast.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They used to feel when you're not interested. They used to feel when you don't want them. So
Mm-hmm.
like you don't want that on your head as a mother,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want that on that child's head.
But the thing is, right? Like, I feel like as Bahamians, like, we don't understand the difference between the level of commitment for a relationship. Like being being in a relationship, committed relationship, versus being engaged to someone is two different things, because you can't say that, okay, we're planning on being engaged, so I can hold that person up to the level of us being engaged. Because you have some people, they've been together for like 6 years, and they've been having a conversation about getting married and engaged, and they going on 7 years supposed to be getting married and engaged. You know what I'm saying? And then you have people, there are actually people who get engaged. Like there are some people who get engaged like on multiple times. You know, like they get engaged to like 3 other people before they actually seal the deal and get married. And so,
What?
yeah, girl. Some people have been engaged 3 times and 5 times and get rejected. And that boy like going on.
That's sad.
So you can't really hold each level of commitment at the same level. Like if you in a relationship, you gotta hold that relationship to what it is. You can't hold that relationship authenticity compared to a relationship that's engaged. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't there, don't act like you there. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Don't make it seem like it's more than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, you don't, it's not that. So
Mm-hmm.
don't make it seem like it's more than what it is until it gets there. When it gets there,
When it gets
then
there,
yeah, you got how you feel.
mm-hmm. So I would say, like, for advice for females, you know, like, understand the level of your relationship and understand the level of commitment that you have. Like, if you know, like, if you have a decision, you know, like, making a decision when you're married is different from making a decision when you're in a relationship. When you're married, what you decide to do really does affect that other person, okay? Because literally half of everything that you own, they own. You know what I'm saying? What you literally is a reflection of themselves versus being in a relationship. Y'all don't own nothing together. And even if y'all have kids together, like that's the only thing that y'all own together, kids. You know what I'm saying? And y'all don't really own nothing together. Like if he was to break up your stuff, you could carry him to court and get your money. If you're married and he was to break up your stuff, you ain't getting that money back. You know what I'm saying? You ain't getting it back. So let's move on to the next question. Is it wrong for a person to demand sex from someone who has decided that they want to wait until marriage?
Yes. Definitely. That's not your decision. That is their decision. If you don't like it, you can find somebody else who's willing to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like
you should
Yeah.
respect that person's decision.
you're not in any type of authority or position to tell that person what they should and shouldn't do with their bodies. If they decide that they do not want to have sex and you say I can't deal with that, then you could move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Exactly.
sure that everyone has something that they really, really hold close to them that they would not change, and it's something that they think is a part of them. And they know that if someone was to come along and ask them to change that, they would straight up tell them, no, that is a part of me, that is my decision, that is what I want to do with myself. If you can't deal with that, then we don't need to be together. It's the same.
Right, right, right.
Show people the same respect that you would want to be shown to you. That's all it is.
Yeah. I
And don't.
respect someone if they tell me, say, hey, okay, yes, I wanted to have sex, but you're taking too long, so let me push out, than to wait and wait and wait, have sex with me, and then after I give you what you wanted, you push out.
What's wrong
I
with
prefer you. Exactly. I prefer someone to just say, okay, you know what? No, you're taking too long. This ain't for me. I rather push out.
Yeah.
Simple. I make our
And
lives easier.
Honestly.
it's honestly like no man and no woman should feel entitled to
Give up their
give
bodies.
Someone
up their
else's body,
body
yeah.
to earn somebody's love. You know what I'm saying? Like that,
Yeah.
them things don't correlate with each other. You shouldn't have to diminish who you are to earn the love of somebody else.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
Self worth.
if that, because at the end of the day, people wicked, and you can't go in someone's brain and see what they stand for versus what they don't stand for. You know what I'm saying? And then when a person does something and break your belly down, your
Hmm.
belly can stay break down. So it's like females don't make decisions based on your partner. Do what you want to do. Okay, so I have the next question. What word of advice do you have for someone who is struggling with hypersexuality?
Make sure you see and try your best to find what it is within yourself that you're really looking for. a lot of times, I'm not saying that this is the case for everybody, but like I was saying earlier, a lot of times it's not really the sex itself, it's the intimacy and the desire for somebody to want for you, your desire to actually be on a level of closeness with somebody, your desire to be vulnerable with somebody, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. So I would think to make sure you know why you're doing it. I think you should. It's important to dig into your why. Why am I doing this? Why am I so hypersexual? Why do I have these sexual desires so often? You know. So figure out your why, and once you find out your why, try and find the best course of action. If you know that you are an emotional person and you find out that you actually only crave intimacy, it's always best that you take a break from the physical aspect of it and try to find yourself emotionally and try to build a connection with somebody emotionally first.
Mm-hmm.
And in that situation, once you build a connection with somebody emotionally first, shoot, sometimes the sex is better.
With Neil, I also think that you should look at, look at why you think sex is the key to intimacy, because you might have other issues that you are not looking at. Maybe you don't even want to be intimate with these persons. Maybe you are just unsure of who you are and you're trying to find yourself whilst being with others. And well, a top tier thing for me will probably always be, my advice probably will always be, get therapy, because I think therapy is an important part of helping you find out who you are and helping you to unravel the issues that you have, the issues that you didn't deal with, the ones that you buried, and the
The
ones
ones that
that
you don't even know
might
you
come up.
have.
Exactly. So that might be a part of why you feel like, okay, having sex with this person and this person and this person will make me feel better. But then when you're
Mm-hmm.
home alone and you realize, wow, I still feel empty, I still feel as
Right.
if something is missing, this still doesn't feel right. So I think that it would be important to get the help that you need in whichever way it is, because some people don't really believe in therapy. If you decide to go to a pastor, or if you are a quote unquote spiritual person,
Or make
whatever
a
avenue you
sisterhood like what we
feel,
got here.
right, a sister, right? Whatever you feel works for you, get on that avenue and keep working at it until you find out, okay, this is why what's going on is going on, and then go from there.
Yeah, I agree with Tania on that. So, just take your time, focus on yourself for a moment, and figure out what you want in life, and just focus on you for a while. I would say that. But hey, if you choose to be like that, I would say always protect yourself. Because
Yes,
there are some
boy.
persons who don't, who
Yes.
who make up the worst excuse that, oh, this give me rash, this too big, this is too small. All type of
Mm-hmm.
And then
misconceptions
kids
about
get
sex.
involved in their mess.
Mm-hmm.
Take your
Yeah.
Which is
time.
then,
Listen, if you're gonna be hypersexual,
Protection.
don't bring life into the world, okay?
And
If
Mm.
then
you
what makes me so mad is that some girls are saying, "Oh, the guy cost. He wanted me to get pregnant. He caused me got pregnant." There are so many contraceptives you can take.
yes,
Even if you
either
feel like you
Listen.
miss,
exactly
please stop blaming the
female
guy.
Listen.
I understand
males. A man cannot cause you to get pregnant unless he raped you. He
you.
cannot
Yes.
force you to have sex without a condom. And even if y'all have sex without a condom, like birth control, it's
Like, I
there.
literally had this conversation
It
with someone.
The plan
exists.
B.
I still don't
Y'all both conceive this child together.
understand for the life of me how women are still having unplanned children. I don't understand.
If you knew
I
you wasn't ready for a
don't
child, there are so
understand.
many things.
Like, at this point, it's not even like contraception doesn't even cost you anymore.
It's
You
so
can get
cheap
condoms for free.
for free.
Free. And when I heard that at UB, and it's probably the same for at UB, it's free. Obviously, they give it away free at the school.
Yes.
But I was told that sometimes, even if they run out of stuff, they'll tell you, "Oh, that's okay. We'll just give you a prescription. You could go to the clinic and get it for $110."
I didn't even know
Free,
that.
But yes,
But my thing
because
is, condoms cost but like $4 the most. Females, you could even go and buy your own condoms. Let's be real.
exactly.
Don't be afraid. You
The
go and
school
buy your
gives them
own
away
condoms.
free.
You could get them
Mhm.
free. Birth control pills only cost like about maybe $3-4. Plan B.
The
Come
I
on.
heard the most it'll be like $10 the most if you want like the extra
If
fat.
you know you ain't
Like
ready for a child, why are you trying to bring this child?
it's
Like,
so
why are you trying to get your egg
Yes, and
fertilized?
then
it's way too easy.
and then this game with having sex with no protection and birth control, and they find that as a joke, and they find that
Hmm.
as something to brag on. That ain't funny because the joke on you until that you
Mm.
really conceive a
Right.
child, and
Hmm.
this child was born in this circumstance that they
Hmm.
really didn't want to be born in because you
Hmm.
was having the time of your life. That ain't
And
fair.
now
Like
you gotta struggle with the child. The
yes,
the guy
that
ain't in
ain't.
the child
Listen
life.
to me. That is so
Like,
selfish to me, and
sis.
that ain't fair. Like people need to realize, like, sex isn't just pleasure. Okay,
Hmm.
sex
Right.
isn't just intimacy, but
Hmm.
sex. You bring
You create
children
life. Hmm.
into the world when you do it. Stop having these children in these unfortunate circumstances
Yes.
Hmm.
because it
I
ain't
agree.
fair to them. It really ain't fair. And then you gotta be like,
I
oh
agree.
well, me and your
And
daddy,
then the
we were just
child grow
having
up some type of
fun.
way bitter and
Right.
angry at the world because they grow up in such a bad environment.
Yes,
And
Right.
whoever's
all
listening to
fun and games
this,
to the child coming to the mixture.
any young female that's listening to this podcast, please remember that baby does not keep a man. Whether you like it or
Mm-mm.
not,
Ah.
That's an
baby does not
on-time word.
keep a man. Okay?
Hmm.
Oh man, it's just so
Yes,
sad.
I
stop,
feel like we
stop.
should. I think it's more. It should be more of a worry now, and even with STDs,
Yes.
we shouldn't even be concerned about them as much anymore. Well, let me not say that. I think pregnancy is something we should never hardly be
Right.
concerned about anymore because there's so many different avenues you could do to prevent that.
Right.
But like the thing with STDs for the most part, the only thing that's proven to be somewhat effective is condoms. So I think that's the only thing that you definitely have to be careful about when it comes to who
Yes.
you choose to have sex with. Because
Yes.
even
And
if
don't let the guy. Go on to
because
you.
even if you're taking the right precautions from getting
Hmm.
pregnant, if you're on the pill or if you're doing whatever not to get pregnant, if he still enters you raw and he has an STD, you got the STD.
Right.
So,
And it,
so I think that that's important for you to take. You could go. You could go.
okay. And the thing about it is, I just find out that Duran does like the rapid test for free. Don't let these guys fool y'all and say, "Oh, well, my job is get me tested every year." No, if you feel as though y'all at the time where y'all feel like okay, y'all want to have sex without using protection,
Hmm. Let's get a
you
rapid
can
test.
you can
Cool.
just go together. Don't let them show you any paper. Go together and be
And
like,
I have a
okay,
question. I have a question. This is a common question. This is something I really need to know. Would you get offended if your partner asks you to take an STD test?
no.
No.
You have some people who will get offended.
But
They
Yes,
would
why?
legitimately get offended.
I agree with Tania because I was dating this guy and I was like, okay, well, before we do anything, let's go and get a rabbit test together. He blow up on me and say, "Oh, you think I'm trying? I have AIDS. I have." I'm like, "How? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you have AIDS. I say let's go and let's do it together." But he blow up on me. I'm like, "What did I
You
do?"
have some
So that
people who
means
will
you
take
must you have
serious
something.
offense to that.
They do. They do. They
So
get
that's why I
mad.
say that
I'm like, oh
it
well,
definitely comes with a level of maturity as well. But maturity runs so
yes.
deep in this thing. If you ain't ready to handle these things maturely, you
Mhm.
don't need to be doing these things
Bye.
that could ruin people's lives.
Mm.
And then at the end of the day, because I took long, he still was like, "Oh well, I don't think I'm ready for what you're ready for," and all that. I was like, "Well,
Bye,
bye,
bye.
bye."
Because like I have no right to be offended because even if I know, yeah, I know I'm not a one of these bad guys, but
Hmm.
yeah, I know I don't have an STD, but because I respect you
Yes.
trying to protect
Right.
yourself and I know it's only for your peace of mind, I'd be like, okay,
Hmm.
if I know I ain't got nothing, I ain't got nothing to worry about. It is
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. Like if you don't have anything, you don't have anything to worry about. Like
exactly. So
And the thing about
if
it
that's what
is,
makes you comfortable,
I
sure.
mean, unless they don't know and they're scared of finding out while with you,
right?
maybe
Yeah. Sometimes they be scared too. Yeah. But my
that
thing
would
is,
be the
even
only
if
logical thing.
try to at least get a rabbit test. Like, I'm not trying to be like, okay, pushy, but at least every 6 months because you
I
don't
didn't
know.
even know. I didn't even know they did the rabbit test for free, Don.
It's
Yeah,
free.
that's not fair.
So don't let these.
Especially if you know that you're a person who has sex a lot with a lot of different
Yeah, it's
people,
free.
you should
And
be worried about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
or if you want something private, you can go to the private clinic. But hey, it ain't gonna hurt.
Mhm.
Yeah, well.
So y'all ready for the next question?
Let's
Mm-hmm.
do it.
What word of advice do you have for someone who wants to change their lifestyle or wants to continue abstaining from sex?
Do you, baby girl? Do you, baby boy? Do
Do
what you
you?
gotta do. Do what makes you comfortable with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy with yourself. Do what you think will help you to progress in your life and get
Because
to
you
know
only
yourself
got one
better.
life.
You only got one, and not only do you only got one, it hella short. So I think it's so
Yes.
important that you do what it is that you feel you need to do to make sure that you are living your life the best way and the happiest way that you could possibly live it. Don't worry about nobody else got to say about you. Don't worry about how other people feel. What matters right now is how you feel. And
Mm-hmm.
we all know once you feel good about yourself, you can confidently go in a relationship and know what you want and set your boundaries and that relationship will always turn out better when people respect one another and respect each other's boundaries. So
Mm-hmm.
do what you gotta do to get yourself together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anybody
I
else?
second that
Like
motion.
what After was saying, like, even if you gotta talk to someone, do that. Go to therapy, you know. Even if you gotta cut off some people, do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
But anyways, I thank you all for participating in this podcast. I just want to say I'm happy for y'all coming together and chasing these topics with me and going on this journey with
Cause girl,
me.
your topics be off the wall. I ain't gonna lie. I just be
Ooh,
scared every
y'all
time I
know
see a new
we,
one. I just be like, God help me.
we only got one more topic to go before we end this series. Of course, we're not ending the Lazy Couch podcast progression, but we have one more episode before we pause for about 2 weeks and we start getting back on the prowl again to see what the response is. And I hope that our listeners listen to this and they like the content that we put out there. And hopefully you might even have some parents who will
May
use
get their
this
children's
content as a
aspect.
way
Yeah.
to start a
Understand their kids'
healthy
point.
conversation, because really the problem between the old and the new generation is communication. We don't
Mm-hmm.
understand each other. We don't
Mm-hmm.
understand what each point is trying to come across. The older generation don't understand what the young generation is feeling. The younger
They always like
generation
to
can.
say, the older people always like to say, y'all ain't never experienced nothing, we ain't never experienced, we ain't nothing new one, but it's not everything y'all do. We done been there, done that. Then why y'all views on it off be so off all the time?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Ask them
there's
again.
obviously
Ask them
some
one more time.
so there's obviously a disconnect somewhere in the
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah.
The times
So
have
if we
changed.
could
Things
find
are
that
different, honestly.
We can help bridge
exactly.
that disconnect between the older and the new generation. Maybe we can really
Yeah.
start uplifting each other, and it all starts with small things like this, like where we're doing our thing, and then it inspires someone else to do their own thing, but in a
Yeah.
grander way, paving the ways for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank you all for you potatoes who are listening out there, and I hope y'all will see
Just
us
so y'all know,
later.
potato for sunflower kid is a term of endearment. Do not take it offensively. She calls you a potato. It means it's all love.
It's all love,
Yes.
because I feel like
Yep.
lazy couch, so it's like couch potato.
Yeah. Oh
So
wow.
you didn't
I'm
get
literally
that?
just catching that.
You
I'm
didn't catch
literally
that?
Oh
catching
Wow.
wow.
that.
Lazy couch potatoes. Hello, potatoes.